Hi everyone, it's Elle here. Welcome back to my channel. I feel like it's been a long time since I said that. Hi to you all. Today I'm going to talk about how I got a first class law degree. A lot of people have sent me messages asking this question, asking how I revise, asking what I did to get a first. So I thought it'd be best to put it all in one place and talk you all through it properly, so that you know how I did it. I'm not saying my way will work for everybody, but it definitely worked for me. So I thought I'd share kind of my advice with you, and just see how you get on with it. Obviously, my way of learning isn't going to be the same as everybody else's, so it's not like a guaranteed like you will get a first class if you follow my method. But I hope I can kind of give you some hints and tips in the right direction at least. So the first thing that I did was, after every single lecture, I wrote up a full set of notes from my lecture notes, and then added stuff from extra reading that I'd done as well. Sorry if you can hear the sirens outside. I live in the town centre, so there's like sirens going past all the time, so I apologise. Anyway, I wrote up a full set of lecture notes after each lecture with everything from the extra reading. The reading is so important. When I first started uni, I literally didn't read, and then things didn't really make that much sense to me, and then I started doing the reading. I was like, wow, it all makes sense now. So read and it'll just suddenly make sense to you. That's kind of my recommendation there. But as you can see here, so I've put any cases and stuff in a box, like key piece of legislation and things like that. So this is from law of evidence, but I put important things in boxes so that it was all there, written out, ready. And then you have a full set of notes to revise from, so it means you're not kind of flicking back through things thinking, oh, I read that somewhere, where is it? And I read this, and it just means that it's all there. It means when you come to revision, you don't have to do loads of extra reading because it's there already, you've done it. It just makes life a little easier, I think. First thing I'd say is make sure you've got a full set of notes for every single topic. So then when it comes to revising, I know that a lot of unis give you kind of hints and tips about what's on the exam. So obviously you kind of know what topics you need to revise at that point. So the first thing I would do is, for law of evidence, I wrote a revision list, because there was so much. There was like a problem question and an essay question, but they could have covered loads of different topics and stuff. So it was just easier to write a revision list, and then it was all there, done, and I knew where I was at with it. So for the essay question and the problem question, I think, I wrote like a plan. So I wrote all my notes kind of out with the extra reading, and then I had a rough idea of what I was going to write in the exam question. I think that's really helpful. It means that you've got everything there, and then it's just a case of learning it. So to learn it, I wrote out a big plan on A4 paper, and then I also used the blurting technique. Now this is something that I've been doing for a while, but a post about it is on Lucy Does Law. It's on her blog. Basically, you just put everything that you remember down on the page, and then you kind of go back to your notes, check what is there, check what you've missed, and then kind of go again, really. And it just helps you remember it all. I found it really helpful because it highlighted what areas I knew, what I didn't, and where I needed to kind of improve. And then I also did these little revision cards. So I had one for the essay question and one for the problem question. They had key cases, key quotes, things from journal articles, pieces of legislation if you weren't allowed a statute book. We were for evidence, and I'd say definitely make the most of it if you are allowed one, because there's no point in wasting your time remembering countless pieces of legislation that you'll never need to remember ever again in your life. When you can just have a statute book for it. So don't waste your time, and use a statute book if you can. Tab the pages so that you're not wasting loads of time in the exam, obviously, like flicking through trying to find stuff, but as long as it's not taking up loads of time in the exam, then I'd say use it. I think they're really, really helpful. that's kind of how I revised for exams. So I just made sure that everything was there. Used a blurting technique to help me remember. Had a rough idea of what I was going to write for each question, and used the key, like the cards, to help me revise like cases and quotes and pieces of legislation if I needed to. So that's how I did my exam revision. Now, one thing that I would say is that the extra reading is so important. It shows that you've read around the subject. It shows that you've taken a genuine interest and you genuinely understand. I tried to put a couple of quotes in all of my answers really that just related to what I was saying, either backed up a point or something like that, just to show that you have read around, you have done the reading, you have done your research, and you do understand the subject. I think that's so important. So yeah, if you can do that, I would definitely, because I do think that's how I kind of did so well. Generally my exams were a lot better than my coursework, although saying that I actually got 78 in my dissertation and 80 in a portfolio, so that's not always the case. But yeah, in subjects where it was split exam coursework, I usually did better in the exam. So yeah, that is my advice on that. So moving on to coursework now. So again, extra reading is literally your best friend here. Everything that you say, if you can back it up with a case, a quote from a journal, a piece of legislation, whatever, just back it up with something and you'll do brilliantly. If you can use a journal or a case that wasn't in the lecture notes or something a bit different, that would be better. I try and remember when I'm writing a piece of coursework that the person that's sat marking them is marking the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's the same question that's set for everybody, and you've all been given the same lecture notes. So if you can give a point of view that's a little bit different, put a case in that we haven't been taught, give a journal article that's a bit different, or something that shows you have done your reading, you've not just copied from the lecture notes or whatever, because that way you're not really going to get anywhere. You don't get a degree for copying. So yeah, that would be my advice, is make sure you do the reading, because that is so important and it's going to make you stand out from the other people that have submitted coursework the same. The first thing I did when writing coursework was a good plan. Everyone loves a good plan. I like to do it on A3 paper just so that it's there and it's nice and big and it's clear what I'm doing. I also, when I'm reading, will so I usually read first. I read around the subject, I look at the question, I pop the question in the middle, and then I read around the subject and kind of mind map it all out. So I've got kind of key cases and all sorts, and then from there I build the plan together. So I kind of put the cases in, throw the quotes in the relevant places and things like that, and then I write. My writing stage is actually really, really quick. I think people were really shocked at how quickly I write coursework, because I am the type of person that can just sit and bash it out. I'm quite lucky like that. I will just sit for like 3 hours and just write. But because I've done all the writing and things by that point, it's actually really straightforward. All the reading, sorry. It's actually so straightforward because it's all there ready to go and I just need to kind of get it all out and get it on paper. So yeah, it actually goes really, really quick. So yeah, that is my kind of exam and coursework learning style revision technique, and it's how I got my first. What I would say, a lot of people have also asked me about dissertations, and I'm going to do a completely separate either video or blog post, I'm not really sure on that, because dissertation's like one on its own. It's a little bit different. So yeah, I'm just going to do something a bit separate on that, but let me know in the comments below if you would like that in a blog or a video. Yeah, I'm happy to do either really. And what kind of things you want to know. If you've got any questions on dissertations, comment down below and I will get them sorted. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I am wishing you all an excellent academic year, because I know that a lot of people will be going back to uni and stuff now. Have a fantastic year. Of course, as usual, message me if you have any questions about anything at all, and I'll pop my social media up in the corner for you. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will talk to you all soon.